Very good morning to you, and thank you so much for finding time to be with us today. This is Kenya and Africa at a Glance, the Friday edition. My name is Miriam Agutu, and it is a pleasure to have you on board. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're tuned in from across the globe this morning. I'll take us through quickly the headlines of the leading newspapers in Kenya this morning, and then later on we shall bring you the headlines across Africa, and then we'll just get into our conversation based on some of the articles that have been contained in some of these papers. We'll start with the Star newspaper, and the main headline on the Star newspaper this morning: Uhuru Raila radical surgery of party rules. Bill creates a NAC-like coalition with presidential candidate running on its ticket. The stories on page 4 and 5 on the Star newspaper. Homemade security alarm to compete with modern tech. You'll find that on page 10. A wife of missing Ethiopian trader begs for her husband's release. That is on page 2 on the Star newspaper. And that is what we have on the front page there. And then we move on to the Standard newspaper, the main headline: why Uhuru Raila bill cuts both ways after National Assembly passage. Party's bill heads to Senate. Joint nominations in all elective seats pose big headache to parties, and parties to miss out on nomination millions. Coalition to diminish big national parties like ODM, and small parties to enjoy funding windfall. That is just some of the things that are contained in this political parties bill that has now headed to Senate, and I think Senate will start debating on it Tuesday next week. The story is on page 4 and 5 on the Standard newspaper. Boost for OKA as Muturi joins alliance. And National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi pledges to work with One Kenya Alliance principles in the formation of a third force to face off with their competitors in the August 9th general election. That is on page 7. And what Richard Leakey believed about God, you'll find that on page 3. And teachers left to carry schools drugs burden, that is on page 8. And the main pictorial there is President Uhuru Kenyatta with visiting Chinese Foreign Affairs Minister Wang Yi during an inspection tour of the ongoing construction of the Kipevu oil terminal at the ports of Mombasa. Beijing gave Kenya 51 billion Kenya shillings grant and signed 6 trade agreements. That is on page 6 of the Standard newspaper. We turn our attention now to the Daily Nation. And the main headline on the Daily Nation: how Uhuru Raila cornered Deputy President Ruto on coalition's bill to get the win. Allies of President Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga had to go back to the drawing board after coming up against fierce rebellion and dirty games mounted by lawmakers in the Deputy President Ruto's camp. The story is on page 4. I will trade more with China, says President Kenyatta. And that is on page 7, and it is the main pictorial there. All set for rollout of junior high. KICD and publishers are preparing learning and teaching materials for grade 7. The story is on page 7. And Sudi, foreigners in airport drama. Kapsaret member of parliament and his 2 friends, a wealthy Briton and controversial Tanzanian politician, cause a scene at Wilson Airport. The story is on page 3. And the other members of Odinga's campaign team, that is on page 6. And DP steps up efforts to win over Mudavadi, that is on page 5. And cancer patients' agony as machine breaks down at Kenyatta National Hospital. The main radiotherapy machine at the country's top referral hospital has been disabled for a month now, and that is on page 11. So that is what we have in the leading newspapers this morning. I'd like to bring in my panelists, and we're joined by Sharon Gitonga. This morning, Sharon, nice to see you, and a very good morning to you.
Thank you very much, Miriam, and a very good morning to you from the headquarters in Nairobi, my colleague panelist Samuel Tawish, and to all our viewers who are watching us, whether it's in Kenya, Africa, and the entire globe. It is a pleasure to be part of this show. And probably before I hand over back to you, I would love to take up this opportunity to wish the former Prime Minister, His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga, there's a happy birthday. He turned 77 years today, and I think this is quite something big. And even as he prepares to attempt the 5th stab at the presidency come later this year. Thank you.
All right, very well. And that reminds me, yesterday, Angirichi took an early opportunity to wish Raila happy birthday. That caused really a star, especially on social media. Thank you so much. Samuel, I wish a very good morning and nice to have you on the show this morning.
A very good morning indeed to you, Miriam Ogutu, from our communication headquarters. Good morning to Sharon Gitonga and all our viewers watching this program in Africa and the rest of the world. My pleasure to join you on this program. Good morning, Miriam.
All right, good morning. So we'll just start off from where we stopped, and we shall start with the main headline on, the Daily Nation, and that is on the political parties bill and the debate, and we saw how that played out in Parliament since last week. And so the story is on page 4 on the Daily Nation. And numerical strength, reaching out to third parties and building consensus on contentious clauses are some of the strategies that facilitated the passage of the Political Parties Amendment Bill by the National Assembly. Allies of the President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga had to go back to the drawing board after coming up against fierce rebellion mounted by MPs allied to Deputy President William Ruto. And I think one of the key changes that I know was in the initial bill was the 6 months that was required for parties to form their coalition before election. And I think that when we are talking about this before it broke out for the Christmas holidays, we said, could they compromise, perhaps bring it to 4 months, because the other side was asking for 3 months. Apparently, they must have been listening to us, and now they've all agreed to have 4 months. So the power of compromise there, Sharon Gitonga.
Thank you very much, Miriam. And of course, I remember when we were having that conversation, when we were actually talking about, compromising, because we clearly stipulated that at the end of the day, these kind of laws are not meant to favor anyone, but they are all meant to, be for the interest of the people at heart. I mean, personal interest should never supersede the interest of the people at heart, because these are the people that put you in power. So any kind of decision that you make is has to be very, concrete and well thought through, without any biasness. So I think this is also a step into the right direction. I mean, it's not a matter of, how long it takes for these, coalitions act to actually be to take place. With the fact that they talked about 4 months. For me, I also don't see, such a big problem. But the only thing that I would want to really call out, even now as the National Assembly, as the Senate actually, crafts up to, go through the same clauses, is the kind of shambolic and barbaric acts that we've been experiencing. And yesterday you talked about, how now it's actually becoming quite difficult to instill discipline to a child who's actually watching live the kind of proceedings that are happening in place. It is an issue of, a monkey see, monkey do. Some of these politicians are actually their role models. Now as the bill actually, and I've seen also the Speaker of Senate, being at the forefront to, make sure that there has to be a level playing field during the Senate proceedings. I would wish this kind of level of, hecklings and assaultments, and including even throwing, of bottles be condoned at the highest level. Let leaders have finesse in order to concretely legislate and have even what you call sobriety and restraint by even shunning any kind of interest, by putting and considering the interest of the people at heart, because you cannot ensure for us to exercise your democratic space and for the leadership. The best they can do is to just vote and not engaging in the manner of barbaric acts that we have seen before, including we talk about some people actually having been expelled because of the kind of things that we experienced last week and earlier this week. I mean, people cannot bulldoze their way simply because you're not in tandem with a different political party. I'm calling out for politics of decency. If your vote has not been heeded to, the best thing you can do is to just agree and concede the defeat. Thank you.
All right, very well said, Sharon Gitonga. As I wish the vote has now headed to the Senate. I don't know, what should we expect coming from the Senate? Nairobi Senator Johnson Sakaja said they expect a robust and mature debate devoid of the kind of drama witnessed in the National Assembly. Should that be what we'll be expecting, coming from the Senate next week?
Thank you so much, first of all, Miriam, and thank you for that question. And indeed, unlike what we witnessed in the National Assembly, I do not anticipate very, of course, the kind of demeanor and the low kind of moral responsibility from our lawmakers, especially when we get to the Senate. I say so, Miriam, because I understand the Senate is a house of majority, and even in the past when they have had to disagree or even debate, they have done that objectively, and they have done that with some level of soberness and some level of civility. And I think it's going to be exhibited even this time round when they get to start debating this controversial, as it has been touted, controversial bill. Of course, but what we all anticipate is that this bill is equally going to sail through in the Senate by virtue of the numerical strength that the Azimio la Umoja that is supporting Raila Odinga and President Uhuru Kenyatta has. And there's not going to be so much. I know there will be an attempt maybe by the other side of the divide, those who are allied to Deputy President William Ruto, to try and maybe frustrate the process. But I can tell you by the end of the day, what happened in the National Assembly is going to be reflected in the Senate in as far as the passage of that bill is concerned. But in terms of the kind of behavior, the kind of insults and so much that we saw, well, I don't really see that that is going to be the case in the Senate. Miriam, I submit.
Well, thank you so much, and we will be here next week to see how that debate will start and end there at the Kenyan Senate. So we move on to another story, and that is on page 3 on the Daily Nation. Sudi causes drama as he insists on using airport VIP lounge. Kapsabet Member of Parliament Oscar Sudi was caught up in a drama at the Wilson Airport on Wednesday together with his 2 friends, a wealthy Briton and a controversial a former Tanzanian minister. Reports indicate Mr. Sudi caused a scene as he insisted on using the VIP lounge without his bags and those of British businessman Michael Spencer and former Tanzanian Prime Minister of Natural Resources and Tourism Lazaro Nyalandu being inspected. The 3 had arrived at Wilson Airport from Eldoret at 11 a.m. aboard on East African Air Charters aircraft registration 5Y SRY, according to a passenger manifest obtained by the Nation. The last time Mr. Sudi had a similar fracas at the airport was in August last year when Turkish businessman Harun Ayadin was arrested and deported. And Mr. Ayadin, who was traveling from Uganda at the time, was part of Deputy President William Ruto's entourage. And I'll just keep that and go and see that Mr. Nyalundi, who was minister during the Jakaya Kikwete administration, was in November 2020 blocked from entering Kenya by the Tanzanian government on suspicion that he was seeking asylum. And once in Nairobi, however, it is said that Mr. Sudi refused to follow airport guidelines, insisting that his entourage passes through the VIP lounge instead of using the domestic arrival section like other passengers. And I think after a while they had to use the other, arrival section like the rest of the other passengers. Why does Mr. Sudi by now knows to do the right thing. Why does he always have to cause, this kind of unnecessary drama, Sharon?
Miriam, it's quite embarrassing and it's quite unfortunate to hear these actually, being the people that we call our leaders, the people that we entrust, with the leadership of this country. And it speaks through, someone's character and, integrity and how they actually, conduct their leadership at large. Leaders with no substance, leaders with no ethics, leaders with no simplicity. And I would tend to wonder if you hold probably for Sudi, with his title, probably if one day he actually became a president, how bad would it have been? And I don't want to blame the party that he comes from. And we have said here, it's a gene, it's a party that is, with people with genes that are avaricious, people with greed and power at the center. And it is something that really needs to be called off. I think humility is key and to any aspiring leader. And, no one who is above the law. They all understand, the authorities' regulations, each and every any parastatal, any any entity. And I think for me, this really depicts into his character as a person. And I'm just reminded of the former chancellor of Germany, that is Angela Merkel. And there's something quite fascinating that I was reading into even her character in person, as someone who was very simple, someone who was very ethical, to the fact that she actually lived in an apartment, regardless of the kind of a high position that she still held. So I think moving forward, it should actually it should really speak through into the kind of integrity and the kind of personalities that these people that we put in place, because it is all garbage in, garbage out. You do not expect to do things the same, the same way, and expect, different results. And I hope Kenyans are really looking into these, are looking into these headlines, not to put in comedians in place, or, the people with these kind of integrity issues. For me, in a nutshell, I think it really speaks into, lack of substance for him as a national leader, and also lack of ethics for him as a national leader. Thank you.
Very well, thank you so much, James Friday, Sharifa Kasasa, Ephraim Owaoma. Very good morning to you, and thank you so much. And the rest of you, could you just just tell us where you're watching us, where you're tuned in from across the globe? It will be nice to know, and thank you so much. Tawish, I mean, when you read such stories, I mean, a person like Sudi, he knows the laws. He knows this is where you're supposed to use. I mean, he's not the president of the Republic of Kenya. And on top of that, he's coming in with other foreigners, but he does not want the Kenyan airport authorities to do their jobs, and that is to go through their luggage. And, as it is expected from anybody using that airport. And so he caused a fracas. He did not want his Briton friend and his Tanzanian friend to be for their luggage to be looked into, as it is expected. It's the standard procedure at the airport. And so he caused fracas, and he wanted to his and his entourage to come through VIP lounge instead of using their domestic arrivals. The airport authorities said no, because he should not be doing that. And officials at the airport stood their ground, but the MP persisted, leading to a standoff that lasted dozens of minutes. Those in the know said Mr. Sudi eventually agreed to go through normal arrival and screening procedures after realizing that he was running late for the National Assembly special sitting on the political party's amendment bill. Okay, why is he still courting troubles? As we know, he still has some other two cases in court that he's battling. The one for falsifying his alleged education certificate, and two, he insulted the first family. Why does he always find a need to court trouble like this?
Miriam, thank you. And I think Sharon has aptly put it that this legislator from Kapsaret, Oscar Sudi, has normalized this kind of behavior, courting controversy every now and then. In fact, even as we speak, just like you've alluded to, Miriam, we understand that Oscar Sudi has about 2 or more pending court cases. And one is about, of course, forgery of papers, and another, I'm not very sure which one. Is it more of corruption or something of the sort? You remember also sometime last year, was it in August, when we had that controversy about the one Harun Ayadin? And Oscar Sudi again was, of course, in this melee. So I'm not quite surprised that Oscar Sudi always finds himself in this kind of situation. But the question then we should be asking, unless one wants to conceal, maybe wants to conceal something, or there's something they're hiding, why will they be hesitant? Or why will they not want to abide or even follow the laid down protocol or procedures that every passenger really undertakes or goes through once they get into this, of course, they want to get to this flight. So Miriam, I think there's more than meets the eye as regards to Oscar Sudi and his involvement with these questionable characters. We have talked about Ayadin, and this time around you're talking about this Spencer, controversial financial broker, and also this politician from, of course, Tanzania. We are yet to really understand what was the mission they wanted to accomplish in Tanzania. In Eldoret during that particular visit. what is it that they were doing in Eldoret? What is it that the public really, they do not want the public to get hint of? And that's why you see Oscar Sudi, I think he's working for somebody. He's likely working for Deputy President William Ruto. So, Miriam, as we head into to August this year's election, there's going to be so much in terms of politicians and also involving themselves in what I will put as illegal activities. Because again, if you have people of questionable integrity, people who are on government rather, in as far as maybe say, issues to do with corruption, involved in such kind of activities, Miriam, we should maybe task our security agencies and investigative agencies to be able to be vigilant, so that even as we head into this election, people of questionable character and integrity are not going to be allowed illegally into the country and to transact businesses that are detrimental to, of course, to the Kenyan people. I submit.
All right, thank you so much, Emmanuel.
Miriam, just to backtrace on a few comments that you've talked about on the issue of lateness. I think it was best for him to have, left quite early, because it shows you actually left late and you wanted to get your way and to bulldoze your way simply because you think you hold a position in the government. And I think it's quite unfortunate to see that people that we have entrusted to legislate our laws are actually the people at the forefront to break the laws. And I think probably it's high time, we amend or look back into the law that, was actually banning people with, the minimum education to vie for MPs and other positions, including the MCAs, because they seem to have, forgotten their jobs, and they seem not to understand what the law really entails.
All right. And I was once at the airport with him. I was going to Kisumu. I think he was going to Eldoret, and we were just at the normal lounge. I think we were just seated at the normal lounge as I were, for the first, classical. We were together, so I'm surprised now. But that was at the JKIA. Daniel Wasonga, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining.
Yes, a very good morning to you, Miriam Ogutu. Good morning to my good brother, Tarisho Lesasina, Sharon Gitonga, and our viewers here in Kenya and the rest of the world.
All right, so we are looking at this fracas that Oscar Sudi caused the other day at the Wilson Airport when he was coming from Eldoret. Once he arrived in Nairobi, he said that he insisted that him and his entourage, he was with another friend of his, wealthy Breton, and another former Tanzanian, cabinet minister there, and he insisted him and his entourage had to use the VIP, and that is contrary to the protocol at the airport. And so there was a standoff there, and the airport officials stood their ground. And so after wasting a lot of time there, he had to go through, every other person, was going through on the domestic arrivals section. He did not want that. And on top of that, he did not want the luggage to be, whatever they do at the airport. He did not want the airport officials to do their job in going through the luggage and so on and so forth. And we were just wondering, why does he always have to? Places you can use Mabavu, but there are places, especially like the Kenyan airports, as if you've been to the airport lately, the amount of security that has been beefed up. I don't even care who you are, unless you're the president. Of course, they would have made prior arrangements to accommodate that. But anybody else, the measures there are quite stringent because of the times that we're living in. So for a member of parliament who understands where we are as a country and in the world, and you want to go in an airport and cause fracas and demand for things that you shouldn't be enjoying there, that is ridiculous.
Yeah, thank you so much, Miriam Ogutu. And what I'll say is that the guilty are always afraid. You have to realize that Oscar Sudi his story of success does not really add up. It is a story that all conmen have always given. You know, I started up as a matatu tout, and after working here and there, I ended up being a millionaire, and that is how I made my money. And that is the story. Look at the people who surround Oscar Sudi. His brother-in-law, Don Bosco Gichana, he's a money launderer. It is a matter of fact that he was arrested and jailed in Tanzania. Look at Zahir Janda, he's a money launderer. Look at Alan Chesang, he's a money launderer. And even Harun Ayadin, who was with Oscar Sudi on the trip to Uganda, that is a senior, a very scrupulous international money launderer and illicit trade commandeer. So these are merchants of illicit trade, Miriam Mogutu. And of course, whatever they are carrying is something of suspect and something illegal and illicit. That is why they wanted to use the VIP entry so that they are not subjected to checks and scrutiny. And therefore, I really doubt that they had a good intention. And I think for Oscar Sudi, he was just trying first testing the waters so that next time when they will be coming in, they bring in this money that they have been looting from Kenyans and stashing it abroad. Remember the other time when they were going to Uganda, they are going to get some money, billions of money that they have stolen from the poor people of Kenya to bring and be able to channel it into their campaigns. So these are crooks and they should not be allowed. If my governor from Busia uses the normal entrance through the airports of this country, if my MP uses the same entry sections of the airport, why would Oscar Sudi, just a mere MP from Kapseret, Makanga, be allowed to use a VIP entry? Is he in the same league as Raila Odinga? Is he in the same league as President Uhuru Kenyatta or even William Ruto, his boss? I believe that is the kind of nonsense that we should not allow in this country. We should not allow crooks to be able to use state facilities or maybe privileges to be able to undertake their dirty deals and be able to infiltrate our economy. Remember, there's a time this lady, Wangui, who is accused of evading to pay a tax of 2 billion, was at Western Hotel. And when the KRO officials and the DCI sleuths went to arrest her, it is alleged that one government official actually used the state machinery to help her escape the dragnet. So those are the kind of things shameful that these guys are subjecting us to. And as Kenyans, we should actually resist. And kudos to those guys who are at the Wilson Airport. We should not allow such kind of impunity to occur under our noses. We should not allow money launderers to bring back them into the country, money that was stolen from Kenyans, to be able to chest stamp and claim how they are empowering people, whereas they're actually making people poor and poor. Today, people of Kimwarere and Aror are actually still dying of mudslides, whereas their money has been stashed in overseas banks, and actually they are using it to campaigns elsewhere and dishing wheelbarrows to the other parts of the country. It is a shame, Miriam, to those who are doing such. William Ruto and his allies. I submit.
All right, very well. Thank you so much. Member of Parliament, Oscar Sudi. Come on now, you know better. And you know, they say that when you know better, you do better. But I guess, you know, Oscar Sudi will just be Oscar Sudi. Very well. And so just beside that story, a controversial business woman, Mary Wambui, has been arraigned for illegal possession of a firearm and 2 rounds of ammunition. And Ms. Wambui, who last year shot into the limelight over the claims that she had evaded 2 billion Kenya shillings in taxes, appeared before Milimani Chief Magistrate Wendy Kagendo Muchemi. She denied the weapon possession charges. Her new woes stem from a firearm, a certificate seized by police last year from Western Hotel, where she had stayed when she was on the run over the tax evasion matter. The certificate prompted police to start investigating her over illegal possession of firearm and ammunition. She was ordered to present the weapon in her possession for verification by the Firearms Bureau. She was then arrested and detained at the Muthaiga police station before being produced in court yesterday. And I know, you know, there are laws in this country that guides private citizens when you want to own a firearm. I'm sure there's a law, there's a procedure. And every now and then when this, you know, breach people, I guess, because, well, I mean, a poor person, you don't even have time to, what are you getting a firearm to protect? So when they're caught, a lot of them have owned these firearms illegally. And as in the case of Waboi, allegedly, this case is in court, so we really can't speak on it until the court finds her guilty of that. But why would they not use the proper procedure? Because it is important. Why do they not use the proper procedure of acquiring these firearms? Because we know you can have one as a private citizen after meeting certain conditions. Why are they always being caught with illegal firearms? Sharon.
Miriam, I think that is my biggest question too, because this is actually another puzzle that gives in more more questions than answers there. And you've talked clearly about the laws that are clearly stipulated and advice on the on the right procedures and guidelines for you to own any firearm. And as they say, the wheels of justice actually turn slowly but grind exceedingly fine. The matter, given that it is in court, it is my hope that it is going to be, going to be heightened and, ruled without any favor or any form of bribery, so that we can have the law taking its force and its full course, so that, probably she serves as a good lesson. Because if I remember the other case of, the issue of tax evasion, it was quite unfortunate to see that, after evading 2.2 billion, the best she could have gone, and that case was almost brought to close. She was given a fine of, I think, I think it was 50 million, and which was quite ridiculous. So I hope this time there's going to be justice that is going to be served for her actually, having been in possession of an illegal firearm. It is quite unfortunate. And also, I'm just reminded of the issue of Jimmy Wanjigi and the whole, fracas that came about him actually being in possession of an illegal gun. So clearly, I am hoping to see, like you said, this whole matter is in court. You cannot speak so much about it, but for me, from where I sit, I am hoping to see, this case coming to fruition and supposed, or if he is actually found guilty, let the law take its action course. Thank you.
All right. I think you've made reference to Jimmy Wanjigi. I think for he's registered, and that's why he's in court demanding for them back. I don't think he would be demanding for them if they were illegal. But
I had seen at some point this year actually saying that the reason as to why they cannot be handed back is because they were illegal. Well, that is a report I had read a while back.
Jimmy went to court. Remember, the case is still in court, and the DCI said he's not the one in possession of those firearms. That is the story we are dealing with right now.
But why would a different, the firearm licensing board actually be in possession and have not given him if they were actually legal? There's also that question. If they were actually legal, I believe they would have surrendered them back. But the reason as to why they are still holding them, it's because most likely they are actually illegal.
Okay, and don't forget the politics that was at play at that time and still is. Anyway, so that is also in the court, so we'll not touch so much on that. Samuel Tawish, the issue of some private citizens owning, illegal firearms, all the times they are caught with illegal firearms. This is something that should concern us now.
It should definitely, but I think, Miriam, the point here is the firearm licensing board really has of course, the authority or the privilege to issue with a license to own a gun, and sometimes even to revoke the same, depending on when they review and they find that you no longer qualify or you are not fit really to hold a firearm as a private citizen. And so these are things that this is just practice world over. It's not something that is so unique, maybe to Kenya. Secondly, Miriam, the reason why some of these high-profile business, of course, merchants decided to acquire these guns illegally is because they know they can get away with it. They can make mistakes with it and get away with it. But you see, once you're able to get this firearm legally, Miriam, and maybe you commit a crime using this gun, you see, there will be a way on how the police will be able to trace it and maybe revoke your license so that the same is actually taken back by the relevant authority. So I think most of the times that is the reason why these people decide to get these things illegally and not to follow the right procedure. Because, you know, with the right procedure, you are assigned a certain gun, you're assigned a given number of, say, rounds of ammunition, and all those kinds of things. So when you use even a single bullet out of this firearm, you're able really to explain how you used it. So that's why these people, I think, they choose to acquire it illegally. But be that as it may, I think it is a very big worry in this country today that we have so many, of course, guns in being possessed by people of questionable character, people of questionable integrity, people who have not even got the right, who have not gone through the correct procedure to acquire these guns, Miriam. Because again, there's also a bit of some training on the use of this gun. You know, you can go just say to an entertainment joint, and someone disagrees with you, decide to pull the gun and shoot people, and you'll be, of course, destroying lives. So in that scenario, that is why the firearm licensing board really wants people to go through a meticulous process, to go through some sort of training before finally, and also do some diligence, some due diligence to understand what is the motive behind you acquiring this particular firearm. But when they know that maybe they will not be able to qualify by the end of the day, they have to go through the black market, they have to go through shortcuts to be able to get these, of course, firearms. And also, why exactly do they have it? It is because of the shoddy business deals that they usually engage in. And they feel like they are often, their lives are often at risk. So they have to carry with them these guns so that at least to protect themselves. But all said and done, they must be able really to follow the laid down procedures and guidelines on how one can acquire, of course, these firearms. I submit, Miriam.
Well, thank you so much. Daniel Wasanga, would you like to add your voice to that as well?
Thank you so much, Miriam Mogutu. And it's all about impunity and the ill minds of this country. You know, people who think that they can operate outside the confines of the law because maybe they have a godfather somewhere like William Ruto who is protecting them. That is why they do that. But in this country, we have Kenyans who have guns in their homes, and they have followed the due process of the law to acquiring those firearms, with the exception maybe of someone like Jimmy Wanjigi, who was holding 15 special military firearms. We still have other law-abiding Kenyans, Miriam, business people I know who have guns and who have legally acquired it, who have legally acquired them, and they do not use them in any unscrupulous means, or maybe going out brandishing them. But you realize that when William Ruto came into government in 2013, we have this cliche of con men, gangsters, former thugs, and money launderers and human traffickers who came into government, and they could do every kind of shoddy business at Harambee House Annex. When you go to Harambee House Annex, from first floor to the very top of it, it was tenderpreneurs, thugs, conmen, and all those guys who do illegal business. And that is why even someone like Rashida Chesa was involved in an illegal firearm importation deal in the office, right in the office of the deputy president. That tells you the kind of impunity that existed there. Where would those guns go if they were imported into the country of Kenya? In the hands of his cronies and everyone who is around the deputy president. You find people like Kiborek, you know, some just shady guy from Baringo who comes from where the deputy president comes from, also walking around and enjoying this kind of impunity, you know, in this country. That is the kind of carelessness that these people are trying to bring in a sovereign state. And therefore, when the president complains that he was actually tired of this lawlessness in government and massive looting that was happening, I really agree with him, because that is the country that William Ruto will actually bring out if President Uhuru Kenyatta is president. What about if he becomes the commander-in-chief of this country? It means he will bring every crooked guy. He'll do any illicit business as long as it has a promise of returns to him. So to me, I think it's all about the few individuals who really want to not follow the due process of the law. And these are people who are actually shielded by the office of the deputy president. I believe President Uhuru Kenyatta has done quite a commendable job in flashing them out. And the next government should actually be ruthless on them again and purge them out of this country, so that we do not have guys who are using government offices to import guns and hold firearms illegally, posing a security threat to Kenyans and even the state itself. I submit, Miriam.
Very well, thank you so much. And at this point, we are joined by Dr. David Matanga. Okay, fine. When he's ready, he will be with us. He's still connecting there, so when he's ready, he will join us. There is another insecurity that seems to be brewing before we move on to, other stories. And yes, 6 people were killed in the Matabithi and Mwerenkoro areas of Tigania East, Meru County, in what is believed to have been a revenge attack by camel herders evicted from farms. County Commissioner Karuku Ngumo said police officers recovered 5 bodies, while 1 person died while undergoing treatment at Isiolo Hospital. He said police were investigating reports that the attack was triggered by a move by locals to evict camel herders from the area. And I think when I was watching that story, it's very reminiscent of what is happening in Nigeria right now, the fight between the herders and the farmers. So I thought if government of Kenya does not address the situation as soon as possible, we have a problem. Dr. David Matanga, very good morning to you, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Miriam, and all our viewers. Thank you very much. I've been listening to your debate on the question of arms. I would have come in much earlier because I know more about arms than any of you on this set. And for you to be qualified to have an arm, a pistol, a gun, and a rifle, as Tawish and Sharon were rigorously saying you must go through a rigorous test, several tests. In Britain, the biggest test of your life is a driving license. It is easier to obtain a driving license, but to obtain a bank card, which will give you money, than a driving license in the United Kingdom, which does not give you money. Because you are going to kill people. If you forge any document regarding driving, you will kill people. If you forge any document regarding firearms, you will kill people. So for you to get a firearm, even a shotgun I have a shotgun license. It is kept, you must have a safe, a big safe. They even tell you, look, they tell you the length, the width, how it should be kept, how many times. You must have got a logbook, Miriam, to log in the time you serviced it, the time you took it out of your safe in your own house. Because the police they do random checks on those who have guns. But this is just, Miriam, it is just a hunting gun which you can use. I live in a place in Surrey. So Surrey has a lot of ground for, forests and trees. You can walk in the woodland for 10 miles, So people go in there, walk free. Nobody's cutting trees there, Miriam. You have to have your safety. You can even go. There is only one day for hunting. You don't just go and pick a gun and go and shoot birds. You see, we are in very big trouble in Africa. And that is the type of discussions that don't have. I want you to expand in some of these topics, Miriam, pick them out. We talk about them. We educate people. We are community television. Let people learn from some of us who have been there. We are not telling lies. You can't pick a gun in the UK and start shooting dogs. You shoot a dog, even when you kill a dog. When you are driving and a dog crosses the road and you kill it, Wesonga, My friend, with your BMW, is it BMW or now you have turned to Mercedes? I don't know. Eh? Police will come. They will come do forensic tests on your vehicle, the skin of the dog, the hair. You will go to jail. In fact, you could be sentenced for manslaughter on a dog. So when you see people here painting goats with UDA colors, and then nobody comes up to complain, you are still backwards. Let's be honest, in Africa, we are still very backwards. Media, we don't care about. That is exactly the behavior that has grown in the Rutos. You see, you can end up like a Ruto. You have tall man, very claim to be handsome, but you are bankrupt. You see that? Bankrupt kabisa. Hakuna utu. And then he wants to become a president of this country. Look at the shit. I've been listening to everything you have been talking. When you don't see me on the screen, I'm on my other screen, watching Medium, seeing the points. The points, you must be scrutinized before you get a gun. I want to ask a question. Are there people who scrutinize us in this country? Is there the firearm? When Matiang brings these tough rules, Sudi is on Matiang, opening his bad mouth with his bad teeth on Matiang, you know, tap, 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 tap. You know, I don't know how women also love people like it, Sudi. But you find them with very beautiful ladies. How does he kiss his women? With that type of teeth, which is insulting the president all the time. Rubbish. Wewe, nyenye mnacheza na Kenyatta kabisa. Nyenye wa Kenya. You are insulting your president every day. Surely what state is this you are going to create? You say you are creating a state of insulting a president whom you have elected all the time. Surely, you are younger generation on this TV. How do you feel when a man of that stature, an MP, calls the president a Mukora? Between Sudi and the President Uhuru Kenyatta, who is a Mukora? And the Kenyans are keeping quiet. That's why some of us are found, like me, who is a friend of President Uhuru Kenyatta. I did not buy the friendship, and I will never buy it. I've never bought friendship. Maybe Ruto tried to buy friendship. Me, I keep the legacy. I feel hurt when I see someone like a Sudi who does not qualify to be my Shamba boy. Actually, if I was recruiting Shamba boys, I would not give Sudi to even work near my house. Insulting the president. How do you feel? All of you who are on the panel, how do you feel? Whether you're a Luo, whether you're a Kikuyu, I don't want to know. A Masai or Luya or Meru, how do you feel when somebody insults a president you have elected? Then where is the respect? How do we carry our children to school? We take them to the school. Won't the children start insulting the headmasters? There we are. This is a community television. We are not going to spend much time reading things that are not there or soap opera. This type of thing is very good discussion. You have your time. You are not in a rush. We do it. We go home. A gun in Britain. They take, you know, if you ask gun owners in here in Kenya, if you ask Sudi whether he went to Madare for psychiatric checks. He will not tell you. He will not pass a psychiatric check for a gun. He will pass psychiatric checks for a stick. Not even a stick, I don't know. A stick is harmful. Miriam, so there are departments that check even your behavior, even the way you react, your impulse. Because if you are owning a weapon that kills instantly, you are not owning a simple stick. It's a weapon that kills forever. Meona ma'am, you cannot just be given it like chukua. And surely, now, coming to the guns, there are guns that are permitted. And there are guns that are not permitted. Wanjigi's guns are for mafia. They are not for Kenyan consumption. He's not in a war field. Even if you say Kenyatta is very bad, even if you say whatever you want to say it. But the gun that Wanjigi is talking about, which the government has refused to surrender, is not permitted to be on the streets and except in the barracks. And under an armed man trained to use it. The caliber is too strong for any man to work with it. It's a sniper. You must be a sniper in Sarajevo. Do any of you know where Sarajevo is? Yes, Miriam knows. Sarajevo, Bosnia, where we were with Major Godana, who is the governor of Tana. I don't know why the governor of Tana has not even called me. I'm in Nairobi. In Kenya, he can't call me for lunch, but I used to call him for lunch in Sarajevo. Governor, if you are hearing this, call me for lunch. Not even a Christmas card. So a sniper gun is that caliber. Surely, how did it find itself? As Rutawish says, men who buy that type of guns have too many enemies. And I want my researcher man, go back to my wall, go to writing from the fence, bring out the article of a mafia state. Is Kenya becoming a mafia state? Miriam, always follow me. I'm Mungu wa Kibiro. You might not like me, but I'm Mungu wa Kibiro, haki ya Mungu. Daniel, look for that article. They bring it here. The killing of Aludamoro. The former prime minister, the late prime minister of Italy. Stephen, where you are, get that article and send it to the platform. Because all of you are supposed to be working. Send the article. You read that article, Miriam. We're at your time, and you'll see what I predicted. I told you about 3 weeks ago, I wrote an article in this Kenya, and I said, is Kenya becoming a mafia state? And the people call me a foreigner. Fine, I'm a Gentile preaching to the Jews. I hope you have got my verses. Philippians, Paul said, I might not be here, but the guns could be used on people. There you are. Medium, you must go several tests. You must not have any crime, anything, whether money or whether this or what, no, before you get a gun in UK. And then they say, have it. And in UK, it's not all the policemen have guns. In Kenya, every policeman has access to a gun. In the United Kingdom, the policeman who has a gun wears black cloth with bulletproof and so on. Those are specialized for a situation to reach you where you are a policeman and they are calling a man in black. Then you know any minute you say, huh, you are gone. And he's gonna target either the leg, if you have refused to surrender, disable you. One of the conditions in Britain, which they give you before they give you the gun, is that, I don't know whether you are hearing me properly, Miriam. Are you? Are you? One of the conditions, the panel, is, yeah, there you have, you put it out, my dear brother, Wesonga, send it to everybody to read. We are in that group, send it. Some can send it. Look at that. I was telling people 3 weeks ago, this state of mafia, to 4 weeks ago, there is a state of mafia operating here. A man has carried a gun, and the judge allows the guns to be taken back. Medium, the judge has the Constitution in his hands, which says there are certain guns you can allow and certain guns you can't. And that judge says, no, return his guns to go and kill us. Is that not a state of mafia? Is that not a state of mafia? If it's not a state of mafia, remove one paper from what I got from school. Take it away. Because there is a, connive. They connive the judge with the suspect. Is mafia. If you tell the judge, like you would see the Godfathers in the films, don't worry, my judge will release him today. That is exactly here. Miriam, are you smiling? Don't you see it here in our courts? Someone has globed billions of shillings. Rigathi told us in the morning I will be coming back. And in the afternoon, he was released. So the law, the Constitution itself has created a state of mafia. If you ask people, where are the three thieves who dug a hole in Thika, stole 50 million of KCB, where are they? Have those thieves not gone back home? When did we last sentence them? Is that not a state of mafia? Where are they? Ask the DPP, did you get a sentence for those three guys who dug a hole? What a special way of stealing in Kenya. You dig a hole, you enter a bank, an ATM, you do an inside job, you take 50 million, which is already banked that week. No conviction. Let me have my kati. Medium. Indeed, Sharon was right. Where are we heading? Where is the licensing board? Who assesses? Show me one doctor who gave recommendation. Doctors are paid. You want a recommendation? You know what you do. Miriam, you want a recommendation? Yes. Just do this envelope and put 100,000 shillings here. And send to the doctor, Utapata. State of mafia. in Rwanda, the man you are sending the envelope will pick it and pick his pistol because and come on your door. He said, hey, yes, are you Miriam Mogutu? Yes, you sent me this money. Yes, I've arrested you, and you see, let's go. You talk to the authorities, higher authorities. Rwanda, we are here saying we are building democracy. Which democracy? Muniambie, hii democracy hii ya Ruto na Sudi to bring a whole House of Lords and embarrass him at an airport. That is the democracy. The same House of Lords. These are the people. Peter Haynes, Spencer, Baroness Hoyes. These are the people destroying Zimbabwe. You are bringing them here again. And the Kenya, some people are watching. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. He's going to meet Ruto in Eldoret. Hallelujah. I'm now off. My phone will soon be off. I'm fed up. Speak my mind out. These are the people. They have destroyed African countries. They are now here quoting a gentleman who is Sudi. Sudi talks with the Lord, which English? Tawish, can you tell me something? Maybe Tawish or Daniel, which type of English that Sudi talk with this guy? In fact, it's very shameful. I'm glad the report is already in London. People have reported already. Yes. That's the Lord spoiling Africa, just seeking sanctions on African countries. Me, I wouldn't like to sit in a place where Lord Peter Haynes is, and the Lord Spencer, and the Lord Baroness Kate Hoyes, the Baroness from Vaxo. We have battled with her face-to-face physically on Zimbabwe. And these are now the people quoting this country. They allow them to come in the country. They hire planes. They go to see Ruto. So, there are so many white people in Sungoi farm. What are they doing? Who are these? Me, I talk the truth. And tomorrow, you people, you can say Matanga did not tell us. So many people there. Are we creating something which is parallel? A two-pronged policy. In case I failed through elections. Me, I've gone through these things before in my country. Somebody used to warn us when we are in power, and we did not take heed. Until one day, one afternoon, my president was very good. My president was very good. Obote. He said, no, we all fought from Tanzania. Don't worry. We are together. I will call the younger man and we talk. Where are we today? I'm telling you a personal story. It's a long story. Miriam, in a nutshell, the state of mafia slowly is capturing this country. Someone has got long-range guns. The judge says return them. Those guns could be returned and be used tomorrow to kill the same judge because of the poor judgment he has made. So when we reach there, Miriam, we are in chaos. Thank you.
All right, Doc, thank you so much for that. Another story before we move on to the African stories. The National Authority for the Campaign Against Alcohol and Drug Abuse, NACADA, has washed its hands of drug tests being conducted on learners in some schools, warning that there is no law guiding such exercises. In a statement yesterday, NACADA CEO Victor Okiama said drug tests are not the solution to indiscipline in schools and should only be used as part of other far-reaching interventions. Stakeholders have voiced concerns that the exercise violates the law and intrudes into the learners' rights to privacy, but Education Cabinet Secretary George Magoha insists they will help curb indiscipline. A drug test, it is in order because children are abusing drugs. We love our children and we do not do this because we hate them, Professor Magoha last week said. However, NACADA now says it has no role in the testing. I do have a child in high school. If the school today called me and said we're running a drug test in all students in that school, as a parent, I will not have a problem with that. So why is this a problem? And we know we have problem in our schools.
Certificating. No, before Sharon comes in, you have been talking. Let me talk also.
You've talked for an hour. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. No, Sharon, bring it on.
Miriam, I think on this issue, I personally have mixed reactions about it. And basically what NACADA actually said, they did not entirely, they were not like entirely, against the idea. But I think from the report I read for them, they just say that it is, it is just a part of a comprehensive, intervention program. And because at the end of the day, I think if we have to look into, curbing the issue of unrest and drug substance, we need to look at, clearly at, the primary source that leads to this kind of arsenry. And they had actually proposed some of the things being, rehabilitations, and something that I had actually proposed a while back is the bringing back of the psychosocial programs, that is, guidance and counseling, because we live at an age and an era where, mental health is an issue. And so I think for what NACADA says, for them, is that it is a welcome move, apart from what they said, actually, it is something that is against the law, but they just said it is one solution, but not like a permanent solution to curb the kind of drug substance. But I also agree with you, given that to tame the kind of morality and the kind of to curb the issue of drug substance. Also, I am also of the opinion of having what they call drug tests. But again, we also need to look at the primary source of the issue of the the unrest by bringing in other policies, such as what I've talked about, the psychosocial programs, and others, or probably even an enabling environment that causes the kind of unrest in schools. Because you understand, some of the schools are quite so much congested, and I was trying to look at what could actually be the reason as to why, when you talk about the fires that we've been having, mostly they're usually at the dorms. We don't hear them having burned labs or others. Could it be something that they are trying to communicate, maybe with the kind of environment that they have, maybe at the dormitories? Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now, the stakeholders there, some also are saying that this measure taken by some schools intrudes on these learners' privacy, and it violates the law. I don't know, what is your position on this?
It's very, very funny, Miriam, that when government through the Ministry of Education and of course with the involvement of other stakeholders decide to put measures in an attempt to try and reduce the arson attack that you've been seeing taking place in most of our schools in Kenya. We have people who are trying even to politicize this action. But to me, and from where I sit, Miriam, I think this to some extent would have gone a long way in just getting us to understand really what could be the motivation behind, what could be the reason behind this kind of unruly behavior that is actually creeping in, especially amongst most of our students, and particularly in boarding schools. And so when people just come and begin blanketly fighting such kind of course, initiatives, or intervention measures that the government is putting into place, then you are left wondering, really, are we trying to help government? Because when the schools are being banned, when the dormitories are being destroyed, I mean, we are the same people again who are coming out and lamenting. So if government has decided that probably we need to begin from this level to see into it, if it can help us in reducing this kind of situations in our school, why don't we come out wholeheartedly and genuinely really help the government? Because by the end of the day, these students don't come from the mass. They are our students. They are our kids. We all have to partake, and we have to genuinely do so, Miriam. It's very, very unfortunate that in this country today, everything that government tries to do, we want to politicize it. And I agree with you that, just like you said, Miriam, that if you are called, for instance, today, and you ask that your son is probably to go through such kind of drug test or something, what is essentially wrong with that? I thought maybe if it was injecting maybe the student with a certain drug or something, then maybe we'll be suspicious. We'll be asking why do they have to do it? But if it's just about carrying out a test, it's simple. Miriam, for instance, people who participate in athletics world over, they have to go through anti-doping test. So if you say that our athletes do not have to go through such kind of tests, it means there's something you're hiding that you do not want the world really to know, or those who are involved in this particular activity should not know. So in this case, I think we should support Education CS Magoha and other stakeholders in making sure that if this is the intervention according to their own observation, will go a long way in trying to reduce, if not to eliminate completely, these incidences of course, we've seen protests and sometimes even banning of dormitories happening in our schools. So be it. We need to come out and support this intervention, Miriam. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Daniel Wasonga, these same stakeholders who are now coming out and saying, this drug test will intrude on these learners, privacy and things like that, and violates the law and all that. We've had these incidences of indiscipline for a very long time now, and I've not heard them come out with alternative solutions. So while the drug test is not the only way that they're going to solve this problem, but it's key because some of these cases have been linked to the use of drugs in this school. So I think it's only right that the schools, especially which have experienced this, that the teachers and the stakeholders in those schools are able to offer this as just one of the ways to ensure if perhaps your child has a problem, you can get them help as quick as possible. So why is it a problem, and why are these stakeholders not offering alternative solutions other than just complaining and fighting against everything the government is trying to bring about?
Thank you so much, Miriam Ogutu. And in this country, there is a very, very bad kind of character that if the government is doing something, then a stakeholder in a certain organization have to pull the different way. We do not have that unity of purpose where even when the government is doing a good thing or maybe another stakeholder is doing another thing, we all come together and support the good initiative. And that is what Omboko Malemba was doing yesterday, just opposing a very good initiative by schools. For God's sake, Miriam, I was in high school more than 12 years ago, and we will see people who are taking alcohol, be it in holiday, and also some trying to sneak alcohol and drugs to school. Even in town, when you could go to such a function as school ball games, you will see people actually sneaking out and using drugs such as bang and all that. And it is a reality that our children actually do use such drugs. We do have even children who are learning in international schools and who are chain smokers at the age of 15. It is a very, very big problem. Now the problem with us is that we live in denial, and especially during this Gengeton generation, you have to be very, very careful as a parent, because this is a generation where music glorifies drugs. This is a generation where music actually tells young people to be reckless in their lives, the way they live and all that. But as parents, we do not have to, we don't want to come to reality and realize that this is a very, very serious generation where we need to be vigilant and be able to do anything possible to just make sure that our kids kids do not indulge in those things that the society is preaching about. So to me, I think we have lost it as parents. We've lost it as even organizations that are actually going against this. Because these drug tests, if our parent Miriam, if I hear that the school is going to conduct such a drug test on all students, I know it is for all good. The intentions are all good to make sure that we do not have few individuals who are influencing other kids in school to use drugs, and these drugs will actually end up impairing their decisions. And that is why perhaps we are seeing an increase in schools being banned. So if these stakeholders are saying that by doing mandatory drug tests, the schools are infringing on their children's rights, they should also give us a solution to why children are banning schools. They should also undertake the sole responsibility of building these schools that are being banned. Because I believe, Miriam, students who are not using drugs, students who are straightforward, and students who are upright cannot just wake up one day and ban a dormitory. They must have an epicenter, and always these epicenters are comprised of students who smoke, who bang, and students who actually sometimes drink alcohol. It's not long ago when we had a driver of Matatu from Mount Kenya who drove all the way to a police station because the occupants, the travelers in the Matatu were all students and actually drinking alcohol and using all other kinds of drugs in it. So that tells you the extent of the rot in our schools. And if we see something and we do not do anything about it, then we are walking towards a disaster. Dr. Masanga yesterday was using an analogy of Chinua Achebe, that if water is at your ankles, you do something about it. When you wait until it is at your neck, then your fate is sealed. And that is what maybe these stakeholders want. They want us to reach a level where we cannot control the schools, the level of drug abuse in schools. They want us to go in countries like India, like Bangladesh, or maybe Brazil, where students use drugs in school and then drop out, and there's nothing the government can do about it. We cannot allow that, Miriam. Let's do things that can support our students to be upright, to be able to.
Wesonga,
yes.
Wesonga, don't forget United States of America.
Yes.
Yes, very true, Dr. Matsanga.
Students use drugs.
Yes. And it's actually a big problem. That's why even in the United States of America, a student can take a gun from home and go around shooting fellow students. And actually, that is the biggest tragedy after terrorism in the United States of America. And all that is actually occasioned by the use of drugs in school. So to me, Miriam, I see a serious problem that we need to address, even if it is not in the confines of the law. We are doing it in goodwill. The intention is quite good to actually shield our students from straying away from the moral standards of the society. So me, from where I sit, Miriam, I see no ill motive in what the Ministry of Education and other high school principals want to maybe accomplish, but these stakeholders are actually who are derailing this country from moving forward. I submit.
All right, thank you so much. And these stakeholders, a lot of them are parents who, as we have seen, also failed in their role to do their jobs. And so they expect the kids when they go to school to be disciplined. Well, you're supposed to have disciplined your child, before they go to these schools. Now, according to an Akada survey, alcohol has highest prevalence of use in schools. 3.8% of learners are using it. Prescription drugs and Miraf follow closely at 3.6% and 2.6% respectively. Cocaine was noted to have the lowest prevalence at 0.2%. So these are figures we get from our learners, especially in high school. And I think whichever way the government is taking in order to bring order to our schools, as stakeholders, as parents, as the society, you've mentioned the fact of, that Matatu driver who drove these kids to a police station. That is the society being responsible. You can't just see evil, happening, especially with these kids out here, and you just keep quiet. So these people who are making noise, until they bring us the alternative as to how they want the government and the schools to handle these issues of drugs and, indiscipline in our schools, I think, I don't know, maybe they should start homeschooling their kids if they're so much worried about their privacy and their rights rights. And I mean, come on now, a drug test is not going to harm your child. In fact, it's going to help you, because if you discover your child is doing something that perhaps you didn't know, now you have an opportunity to help them out, to get them help, to get them counseling, to get them, rehabilitation before it gets out of hand. So there it is. Doctor, go ahead.
First of all, drugs are a menace, not only to the children, but to the entire surroundings, wherever they are. If drugs are allowed to be drunk in schools, smoked in schools, then these students are going to kill, they are going to kill their people, kill teachers. People will kill, get a knife. It is true. It looks like I am always a supporter of Magoha. Whether he's doing bad or good, I support him. I have no problem. I've liked the way he has disciplined some people. I've liked the way he has brought some sanity in schools. There are some decisions that he takes that are very good for students and for the parents and for the nation. Parents, the same parents making noise that they should not have subjective people who have suspicious characters are the same parents who are drug peddling. You remember the banning of schools, Miriam? Some parents wanted the schools banned so that they can do supply of materials. Get intelligence very clear. So there is something wrong here. And I want to state it here categorically. I hear that we are like Mozambique. Remember when Mozambique got independence, Miriam, after the Portuguese had left? Any political student in the world will agree with me, or those who don't know it now. Everybody in Mozambique was calling everyone, comrade. Comrade Miriam, how are you? Comrade Tawish, how are you? Comrade Sharon, how are you? Comrade Wesonga, how are you? Mozambique went into chaos. It was the days of Samora Machel. I was a big man, already grown up in government. Not these small boys who were looking for shoes in a shop in Eldoret. Look, this thing, comrade, had to stop, because the medical doctor who is cutting your ribs and putting them back, because you say we are all comrades, we fought together in the Chingwea, Ruvuma, Cape Delgado, up there in the north. We are all in Tanzania together, we are comrades. The state became terrible until Samora Machel said, comrades will only be used to people who went and fought with guns. The rest of us, we shall keep respect to a judge. We shall keep respect to a teacher. We shall give respect to magistrates, to doctors, to lawyers. Mozambique was going to hear confusion. Now, it reminds me why I brought Mozambican situation to Kenyan situation. Everybody here in Kenya is becoming a lawyer. Have you realized that? That even grave diggers like Sudi, who should have been a grave digger actually. I don't know how people in Rift Valley forgot that grave digging is a bad sign and a good sign. And they selected a Matatu tout to arrive on You know, they insult Kenyatta, but they don't touch Mathanga. Touch me, I will touch you. I know everything they do. One thing, medium, clap for me. I know everything Ruto does every day. Even what he is going to do tonight. So I will expose. You know, you saw Sankoko yesterday. Is he speaking? Everywhere on social media, Sankoko is running mad. He doesn't know why he came for the interview. He called the television station and said, next time don't call me with Mathanga. Because everybody is bashing him. These people insult Uhuru Kenyatta, and then they went around because they think they have mouths that insult. But you touch, you insult Uhuru Kenyatta in my presence. You will see the mouth I will give you. I have a package. I don't care. What will you do? What will you do? I will go away. But you insult Uhuru Kenyatta when I'm here and even in a dining. My friend, we Apple, Akuna, even hiyo meza za Arabica. I don't care. Ask Karuma MP for Homa Bay. You don't insult Uhuru Kenyatta in my presence. I defend his legacy. Therefore, you insult Uhuru Kenyatta when Mathanga is not hearing. But when I hear you come and say Uhuru is stupid, my friend, even that project will go down. Don't come near me. Go and insult him there. And the Sudi, very shortly, tutakutana. And insult Uhuru Kenyatta. Every time insulting Uhuru Kenyatta. Nyinyi mnafikiri Uhuru Kenyatta hana friends. Sudi is a friend of Ruto. I'm also a friend of Uhuru Kenyatta. Why are you insulting him? I might not be a Kenyan, but my friend, I'm a friend. You unaleta wazungu mercenaries hapa wenye wananunuanga bunduki kwa overthrow governments in Africa, and you bring them here. The security is watching here. Do they know the background of some of these wazungu? What has happened in Dar es Salaam? You look at what has happened in Tanzania today. This same Muzungu was meeting Madame Suluru. You people, what is going on here? There's no intelligence that can defeat me in East Africa here. Because I have friends. The man, the controversial minister, was the same Muzungu that this guy was holding, bringing in Kenya, had caused trouble. The Speaker of National Assembly in Kenya, in Tanzania, has resigned. Did you know that, Miriam? That's the same Spencer. He met Mama Sululu. They are taking them there, and the Speaker is saying now this is going to cause a problem in Tanzania. Now we are bringing the man here with Sudi. And the Sudi is bringing, there is a man behind all this. It's Dr. Muge, who is doing all these connects. They have already printed the papers in Greece for ballot paper. They are printing, Ruto is printing his own ballot papers. Hey, niliwaambia mlikuwa mnafikiria I'm stupid. There you are. Nyenye, hapa, Can I keep quiet now? Mutaon. Hapa. These are the same people. The plane left Tanzania, they were in Dar es Salaam. Miriam, I told you during Christmas, I was supposed to be in Hayati Hotel. Why did I leave? I did not go. Because there were meetings in that place. Some people I did not want to see. Nakwambia ya haki, I had a room in Hayat. Booked, paid. But I told my friend I'll use it later on. Withdraw the money or leave it, put my debts there. 1 week in Hayat, Dar es Salaam. But when you see characters of this nature whom you know you have already traced their intelligence origin, I cannot go there. There's something very fishy taking place immediately. And you see Miriam on this same television. What did I do? Didn't I tell you that where Tony Blair steps, there is always a problem. Are you not my witness? Oh, don't become Peter, Mama. You heard me. All of you were here. Don't become Peter. You did not hear. I said it on this show, one of the shows, that where Tony Blair goes to seek, thanks God for me, I blocked him in Zimbabwe. I blocked him. Honestly, I have no regrets for that. What can Tony Blair do? I have done no crime. He's looking for work in Africa, yet he killed the same Africa. Now see, Tanzania is in turmoil. The same group left Tanzania, controversial. They have even written controversial Tanzanian foreign minister, controversial Tanzanian MP, who was a minister, a deal wheeler. Why does Ruto only meet people who are deal makers? Why doesn't he meet decent people? What language does Mr. Sudi use when he's talking to this Muzungu? Swahili or which one? I don't know. Look at what he's doing a few minutes ago on TV. He's sharpening. He's even calling the president Mukora. Wachana wakora awale na walevi. What is wrong with this country? That is it. So for me, drugs, I support Magoha. Students who are suspected to be peddling drugs, since headmasters cannot become watchmen, let the system work. Let it be there as a punitive measure that when a student has taken drugs, he is coming. The only thing that I don't agree with is the money used for testing. Isn't it? That one, Magoha the government should take the responsibility of testing all the students or schools that are prone to conflicts and fire burning, fire causing. Let them test some of the students for free. That one we shall advise Magoha. We shall tell Magoha that allow the government, let him propose to the government, Nakada can do this thing for free. Test can be done for free. Say blood, just take the blood or take the equipment there, every case, or do random tests on schools. They like the equipment that is used at the airport. You know, you have seen the brush Miriam used at the airport. It's a smaller brush like this. Then they catch the thing and put in a machine. If you touched any cocaine anywhere, itaonesha hapo. Bas wewe upiti. That's why for me, I don't give anybody my bag to carry. I am myself and with the bag, we die together. Even before I leave my house, I offload it. Then when I come, I offload it again. Don't sleep in a hotel and then wake up in the morning that you are running for a flight. Unapata 2 bullets or 10 bullets put in there. What will you do? Utasema this is not your bag? This is becoming a mafia place. So Magoha is correct. The only thing is that remove the money the churches on them, Miriam. Drugs, tests. They can use so many methods. Government can help the schools. Because if we allow the drug culture to grow in schools, students will run amok and kill their fellow students and teachers. I submit. Wasn't it the topic?
Yes.
Yeah, the letter has come, it is there. I think Wesonga, you can tell us the date it was done. Wesonga.
Yes, Doc. Let me just counter check.
You counter check. Are you not the one who got it?
It was the 15th of December.
Thank you. How many weeks are those? I wrote that. I said it. When you touch the mafia, you shame him. What does he do? The letter is there. This is 15th December. That very shortly, Kenya could become a state where people acquire even arms. They acquire arms and they come. Miriam, he comes for you, waits for you. That I've been looking for you and that you don't like me. Then you say, but what? You know, Miriam, this culture which is coming here of Jamaicans. When you greet a Jamaican, when he has not told you to greet you, he can ask you so many questions. And then you can, Miriam, he said, why are you greeting me? You say, but you see, with us, with good manners from Africa. I have witnessed this in London with my two eyes. My friend being beaten. I had to come in and ask this man, apologize, please, please. My friend, on a zebra crossing in front of my club, daytime, I was in the doorway waiting for him to come. He parked his car across on London Road. Then he was crossing to come. Then the Jamaican guy passed, was driving. Then this guy was in the middle of the zebra crossing. Media, this is, by then the cameras had not come. If cameras had come there, nowadays in London, every place, there is a camera. All the way from central city, you can be caught on camera. There's no need. The police won't hurry. They will catch the car. Even if you change, they will get you. This guy stands at the zebra crossing, Miriam, and says, why do you want to knock me? The Jamaican guy comes out, stops the car, and starts beating my friend who is coming to see me. I was in the door, opening the door. I had to close, just shut the club and run to rescue, to say, please, please, please. He said, who are you? I said, please, please. He saw my body. You know, I'm also not a person you can push around. When he saw my body, he said, tell this bad, I don't want to use the word on the TV here, that African rat. That's a rat, to go off. This man had a wife in front and a child behind. I told Mr. Eguea, he's my friend, he won't mind me mentioning his name, that let's go. I went to keep his wounds. You know, he had been beaten. And when he saw us writing, you know, the guy did not go. Now I said this time, close, let's go inside, close. We wrote the car number. Miriam, he parked ahead. He came now. You are writing my number. But I said, what is it that you want? Now, the outside my club, there are taxi drivers. So the taxi drivers came and said, come and I will show you. Touch him, touch them and you see. These are also Jamaican taxi drivers. You see, we are reaching a state of that nature. That is not a good state at all. This guy could have been on drugs. His second coming after parking his car, he was now coming for us. I told my friend, let's close the door and stay inside. Because he could have a gun and shoot us. You lose your life for an argument with a man who doesn't care about life. So drugs, guns, everything is not good for people of Kenya, not good for anybody in Africa. I submit. So I wrote that letter also, Miriam, telling people, warning people that let's not become a state, a mafia state, where you are now seeing people coming to give deals, bring a businessman from Britain, we shall come to power, give us money. That's a mafia state. These people have spoiled. They don't like Zimbabwe. They killed Zimbabwe. Lord Peters, Baroness Kate Hoy, Lord Haynes, Baroness Amos. These are people who destroyed Zimbabwe. They're in that house. And when I saw the name yesterday, I picked the phone and I called one of the lords, 3 or 4. I have friends there. When they told me the background of some of these people, I pity what we are going through here. Miriam, back to you. Let's open up the African stories. You have them?
Yeah, I do have some, and we'll start with a story from Ethiopia. And U.S. Special Envoy for the Horn of Africa, Jeffrey Feltman, who is to step down at this month, is in Ethiopia for talks aimed at ending the Tigray war. The U.S. State Department said Feltman would return to Addis Ababa for the third time since his appointment in April 2021 in a bid to convince leaders to go to the negotiating table. I confirm that Feltman will be in Addis Ababa on January 6th for meetings with senior government officials. That is according to department spokesperson Ned Price. And Feltman's previous attempts to have rebuffed, including as now by Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed. Price said the US continues to call on warring parties, the Ethiopian government and the Tigrayan People's Liberation Front, to stop fighting. And we've seen how that has played out. The fighting still continues in Ethiopia, and the rest of the world seems to be tired. No one is even following this war anymore. I don't know, is it because we have other things that are urgent in the continent, or the war in Ethiopia is something that we should continue worrying about?
Miriam, Ethiopia, who was coming next? Myself?
Yes, go ahead.
Ethiopia. A few weeks ago, Miriam, I told you, I picked a phone and I talked to a Tigray president, spokesman who put me through to the president. That was the time when they wrote a letter to the United Nations Security Council and the Secretary General. I want to thank President Uhuru Kenyatta for the role he has played, a silent role he has played to bring about peace in Ethiopia. This envoy, I told you the American envoy and Obasanjo pack and the ship, go, they would not manage. Africa's solution for Africa with Africa. We have a solution. And the President Uhuru Kenyatta has provided the leadership on Ethiopia. And the warring parties are closely coming to round the table. give credit to President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Forget about that American. That's why I exposed him. We exposed Ocampo. No, Obasanjo. That worry me. I told you Obasanjo was not up to good. There you are. Is there anything I can add there? No.
All right.
The peace will come through Africa and through President Uhuru Kenyatta. Thank you.
Very well, Doc. Thank you so much for that. And I think that leads me to the next question, Sharon Gitonga, if you can hear me. The US has been accused as one of the instigators of this war in Ethiopia, and they've been accused of wanting a regime change in Ethiopia. And now we see the US is trying to lead for mediation. Is the US the right person to lead these mediation talks? Just to add on what Dr. Masanga has said.
Thank you very much, Miriam. And I agree with you that at this point in time, Ethiopia is a priority, and it should be a country that should not be ignored, because the war in Ethiopia is an African war. If anything happens, it is going to spill a catastrophe in the Horn of Africa. And of course, one of the major negative ripple effects is going to be an influx of refugees in different African countries. And I don't think we are that stable and have that amount of resources to spare to accommodate the kind of refugees, and there's no price tag to security threat. But I have an issue with the US coming on board if they are truly if they mean the good of Ethiopia. And at this point in time, I think a different African leaders should come on board to see the restoration of peace and stability back in Ethiopia, and that is inclusive of what the president of Kenya, of the Republic of Kenya, that is Uhuru Kenyatta, has been at the forefront trying to restore the peace and the stability of Ethiopia, because Kenya is an island of peace, and we understand our position being at the beacon of security. So it could be it is actually a call to action from different African African leaders to come on board and see how we can help Ethiopia come back to its itself, and come back to get back to peace and stability. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Daniel Wasonga, is the US the right country to mediate over this conflict in Ethiopia, being that the US has been accused of being part of that conflict and supporting the Tigrayan and wanting a regime change in Ethiopia?
Thank you so much, Miriam. And of course, the US has been the greatest instigator of regime change in the continent for quite a long time. And yesterday we had a show with Dr. Matsanga David, amongst many other comrades from Africa. And it came out clearly that the interference of outside powers has been the biggest impediment to the progress of Africa. And when it comes to the Ethiopian conflict, I believe the CIA was playing a very major role in actually embroidering this kind of conflict between the government and the TPLF. And on this, in this occasion, they are actually funding both sides, so that whichever side that wins this particular conflict, they will align to it. And that is solely because of their American interest. Dr. Masanga always says that for the US, it doesn't matter whether it is in Afghanistan, if it is in Kazakhstan, if it is in Kenya, or it is in Mozambique, or whichever country it is, so long as it is not in the West, it is always about their interest, and their interests always come first. So to me, I think anyone who is coming on board as an arbiter should be someone who do not have any interest in the conflict. But as far as I'm concerned, the US through the CIA has a very, very big interest in Ethiopia, and therefore they cannot be a sufficient mediator in this, Miriam. I submit.
Okay, thank you.
Miriam, Just to add up on something about the US, and if I remember at some point, the same US had actually threatened, to block them from the AGOA free tariff that is at the US market. So there has been some inconsistency when it comes to aid. And just like Daniel Wesonga has said, I don't think the US could actually be the best fit to actually bring, the kind of conflicts to close, especially in Ethiopia.
Mm-hmm. And the last we checked, the US has just been threatening to put sanctions in Ethiopia, and a lot of this, it has not really followed through, and there has been a complaint in that regard. We move on to Sudan, and the Western donors say they will not work with the Prime Minister appointed without the input of the civilian pro-democracy movement in Sudan. In a joint call, just days after Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok quit following weeks of protest against the junta, the European Union, the United Kingdom, and the United States and Norway said his replacement must be a product of dialogue. The US and the UK and Norway are often known as Troika on Sudan. Alongside the EU, they have been financial supporters of the transitional project in Sudan, which faces the threat of stalling after Hamdok resigned on Monday. Doctor, these countries are right to demand for this, even as perhaps they look forward to get another prime minister there in Sudan. Are they right to make these demands on Sudan? You're muted.
Dr. Hamdok is an agent of George Soros. Are you hearing me?
Yes.
He's an agent of George Soros' outfit of CIA. Whether you take it north to America, to the moon, to Venus, to Jupiter, come back, trace his records in Nairobi when he was here. Whom was he associating with? Dr. Hamdok is the chosen son, is the front man, fronted by international agencies in Sudan. The purpose is to pick Bashir. The army is not ready to surrender Bashir. That is all. The conflict of Sudan, forget it. Don't go far. The army is not ready to surrender Bashir. Bashir, once you surrender Bashir to the ICC, you would have surrendered yourselves, because it wasn't Bashir who was fighting in Darfur. It wasn't Bashir commanding Janjaweed. The commanders of Janjaweed are the same people who have overthrown the government of Bashir, who are in power in Khartoum. Therefore, the stalemate in Khartoum is caused by the ICC debacle, which the West wants to deliver Mr. Bashir to the court. But the army is saying no. And the Prime Minister Hamdok wants Bashir sentenced, taken away. And now people are turning around to say, then why do we have courts? Why do we have courts in Sudan? Sudan is one of the countries in Africa that started law, the rule of law, constitutionalism, started in Sudan. They have both mixed Sharia law and with the English law, the Westminster law. So why do we take a man into Sudan? That is all medium. Don't listen to any other garbage. That is the centerpiece of the crisis in Sudan. The army does not want to surrender their general. The civilians want Bashir taken. Hamdok is the man bidding for the West. Look at the countries that have said they want a new prime minister. Who are you to come to choose a new prime minister for another country, a sovereign state in Africa? Who? These mistakes. Nkrumah told you, wherever he is now in the grave after his death, he must be smiling. He said, I told Africans that have seek you, ye political unity, then come for economic unity. If you don't have political unity, they will come to dismember you through elections and take your money. You look at the example, it drops down, trickles down to Kenya. At Wilson Airport, to Eldoret, a candidate called Ruto is looking for money from a billionaire in Britain in exchange that if I come to power, you come and collect the resources. Can't you see that? Kruma was right. And the people are watching. They allow this billionaire fly Kenya Airport Authority, the airport airspace. They even allow, he has caused chaos in Tanzania. He's here. And you call Miriam, have you read that a controversial Tanzanian what? Yeah, you are a
he's a former minister, and last year he was denied, no, 2020, he was denied coming to Kenya because they believed, Magufuli's regime believed perhaps he wanted to come to Kenya and seek for asylum. So he was barred from coming to Kenya. So it appears he's a troublemaker there in Tanzania.
Yeah, he has caused chaos already there. The speaker has resigned. Suluhu is having problems. Then
yes.
You allow, so do our people at the airports, immigration, do they know these people? They don't know them. No.
But also they're just doing their job. So anybody that goes there and tries to do contrary to what they expected, they're giving these Kenyans who are hardworking their very hard time for no reason at all. It's very disrespectful what Mr. Sudi did.
Yeah, he's doing it because he has got. So if they are doing this when they are not in power, Miriam, what about when they are in power? What will Ruto be in this country? You people watch. If Ruto is telling Sudi to do what they are doing, Sudi will even shoot people on the streets of Nairobi. If Ruto becomes the president of this country, Sudi will shoot people. I'm telling you. Because no, I am telling you, Ruto is not using. Have you seen an intelligent man being used? On the intelligent men who are being used like David Indi are stupid. But Ruto uses very awkward characters like a Rigathi. Look at Rigathi. When he talks, you think there is ugali in the mouth. He's eating your pap, you know, he's used. Who else? Look at all the regions. He's using a boy whom I used to pay 5,000 shillings for a show here called Ndindi Nyoro. My peg boy. You know? Yeah, honestly, he used to be there. The last money even he took, he has never paid it. He said he was coming then. I directed him to go to party headquarters, Jubilee. He was lucky he got a slot. Yeah, have you seen that? People have used me, but he has never come back to say thank you. Those are people. Have you ever seen them talk about me? That Itumbi cannot talk about me. Because I taught him how to handle a fork on a plane. That you don't know the fork is put on this hand, please. Sit properly. This is a seat belt. Come with me. We have reached the Schiphol airport. We got a Mercedes. He said, you have bought a big Mercedes Benz here. A Mercedes Benz in his Schiphol airport is hired medium. I told him he's hired. Look, those are the people Ruto uses. But Ruto cannot come and use an intelligent lady like you. people like Alice Wahome, very soon they will not be there. So it all came to the question of Hamduk, and we came down that the West penetrates and comes down up to the level. Now you see the action of of course the British are happy with more investment and more jobs created when they have a contract. But when you see the trail of destruction, in Tanzania now, turmoil is starting in parliament. Very soon, the parliament could have a vote of no confidence in the president. You know that. And they could easily do it. And we lose the first president, a woman in East Africa. You don't joke. So these are people you should moto ya kuotea mbali. Anakuja na biashara. The only person who doesn't come with biashara to cause chaos is Sir Richard Branson. He doesn't involve himself in politics. If it's a hotel, it's a hotel. He has a hotel in Mara. Have you ever seen him that he's giving money to a politician? Have you? He has hotels in Zimbabwe. He only, when people rejected Mugabe, he went. He said, I am not involved in politics. This property, I bought it when I will go there. He goes, Mugabe never touched him. Mnangagwa doesn't touch him. He has his properties. He doesn't do business. But he's a very rich guy than these ones. Sorry, these ones who masquerade around here. After doing, few deals, crooked deals. Crooked deals. Look at the crooked deal that brought us chaos. Analytica. You remember? Can't you? Why don't you talk about it? You know, by the way, Medium, I know time is gone. We're about to close. Let me tell you one thing. One of those experts that people brought came to me. Someone told me that they want to see you. Then when I reached there, they were asking me things that were very funny. So I asked them, then why were you brought here? Why were you brought here? I just picked my bag. You know how your man is, your friend Matanga here. He's a very proud guy also. He's a Luo man. I just picked my bag and left. The man said, the person who sent me there, did you finish up with them? I said, why did you send me there to waste my time? To tell them, then they earn the money and I'm earning zero saliva. Let them find out. And I said, by the way, they will cause you trouble. Didn't they cause trouble to the whole world? Where are they now? Where is Analytica? Where are they? Now there you are. Ruto is making the same mistake. And the state is allowing such visits. What do you gain with such visits? The other man was a fruit farmer. Why is it that it is only Sudi bringing people here? Why doesn't someone somewhere, why doesn't he sit down and think and take action? I am happy that President Museveni has taken action. He has told someone, don't bring here, don't come here now. I'm sorry. You are bringing a bad relationship between me and Kenya. Full stop. By now, Ruto would have run there too many times. And I advise him to go back there. Yeah. There comes a time when things have to come to an end. You know, Harun Eyadin, who was a fruit farmer. What is the word used? Kisasa. Mkulima wa matunda ya, is it matunda? Matunda ya kisasi. Ya kisasa, sorry. Mkulima ya matunda ya kisasa. Wesonga, what is going on? Sharon, you know Swahili. Tell me. Mkulima ya matunda ya kisasa. Where is the guy now? Yes, Wesonga.
Those are international networks for money launderers. And that is why Oscar Sudi is a key person here. Remember, Oscar Sudi married Don Bosco Gichana's sister. And of course, Don Bosco Gichana also had some contacts in Tanzania, where he was actually held and jailed by President Magufuli for money laundering. So when we have this former minister from Tanzania coming in, and then Oscar Sudi also being in the mix, you know whatever the greater plot that is happening.
All of them were there. In fact, the Bosco is in Eldoret now. Today, I've just done my, don't forget that. It could also cause problems. Hamduk is the key blue-eyed boy of the Western Hemisphere. And I regret why General Degro allowed him to be released from jail. Just put him on a plane, throw him in Dubai. Like we did to Morgan Chankarai. We refused him to come back from Botswana. Mugabe does not joke until he begged and said, let me return home. As long as Hamduk is there, we have a problem. He accepts to go back, he resigns. Because he wants people to come. And on my final note, the type of tactics that Ruto is using in this country are the same tactics that Ruto is copying from Hamud tactics. That he knows he cannot acquire power through the vote. But Ruto is going to be very stubborn at the end when the elections are finished. I conclude, submit for today.
All right. And before we close the show, I don't know if there's any of you who has a sentiment, because I know you'd not talked about that, and these requirements that the Troika is making, the US, the UK, and Norway. They're saying, they will not accept any other prime minister that will be, appointed without the input of the civilian pro-democracy side. Are they right in making such demands from another country? Daniel?
So thank you so much, Miriam. And of course, Dr. Matsanga has already finished that particular topic, and I wouldn't want maybe to dilute. But my opinion is that perhaps these guys will have gotten away with maybe ousting al-Bashir from the reins of power. But when they started now talking about maybe bundling him into a plane to take him to The Hague, that is where the rain started beating them. And I believe in as much as maybe even right now the military will have, could have taken over, this problem is not a problem that is going to end very soon, unless they actually calm down and be able to settle on a local solution to their own problems. So any foreign country cannot be of help to their own local problems. Let them solve their problems locally. Dr. Matsanga has said, talked about the Janjaweed generals who are still walking free in the streets of Khartoum. They can set up a committee of inquiry and do what Rwanda did after the genocide. They can do whatever, even when Yahya Jammeh was smoked out of power. What did the country do? They brought together a tribunal to be able to do reconciliation and justice. So that is all they need to do. Every solution have to come from within, Miriam. I submit.
Okay, very well, thank you. Sharon, would you like to add something on there?
Thank you very much, Miriam. And of course, I agree with what my colleague panelists and Dr. Matsanga have talked about. And when you talked about the ICC issue actually being one of something that has caused the kind of division between the Sudanese, that is something that is quite fundamental. And of course, Dr. Matsanga earlier on has predicted another coup that could be roaming if at any point we don't give a voice to the people, of the Sudan, because I believe that is what democracy is all about. And the Africa Union at this point and the likes of IGAD have proven to be dead, and given the kind of influence that they have by the West. And at this point, I agree that regional leaders have to rise to the occasion and bring back the house in order and to end the stalemate in Sudan by allowing in a local tribunal of President Bashir, and suppose he's actually found guilty of the alleged, campaigns of mass killings, the rape and pillage that was actually labeled against him, was actually, labeled against him. There's a need to, bring back a local tribunal. And at this point in time, ICC should, keep away from all these. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And local tribunal, I'm not sure, because as Dr. there has said, the generals, they're the ones who've been involved even in the killings of the recent protests. So they're going to put up a tribunal to investigate themselves. I don't think so. So I think Sudan finds itself on a quagmire, and we shall continue watching and seeing as the story continues to unfold there. And that brings us to the end of the show today. Thank you so much. Sharon Gitonga, Daniel Wasonga, and Samuel Tawish, who seems to have left the conversation a bit earlier. And of course, to you, Dr. David Matsanga. This has been Kenya and Africa at a glance. And of course, today, the Friday edition, we've pushed it a little bit, and I'm sure we've had conversations that are meaningful to the Kenyan society and to Africa at large. Thank you so much for your time. My name is Miriam Ogutu. Enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye for now.